Alright, so here's a recording that addresses much bigger issues because these are serious stories talking about the paternity issue. Because recently, MP Henry Clark had basically said wanted to petition has wanted to make a petition not petition pass a bill a law that that would allow the DNA of newborn children to be assured from men because of the jacket phenomenon, the phenomenon that has been a part of Jamaica's fabric. And the thing is, though, is that most people say like to downplay that the thing with jackets, where saying, "Oh, it's not really a big deal." I mean, it's not really like it's like a major issue. I mean, well, if you check the statistics, right, and people choose to believe statistics or not, for whether it's for their own convenience. The jacket rate in Jamaica is 70%. That's very high. Now, Henry Clark, and I'll give props to saying it, we need to have a motion for compulsory DNA test to administer at childbirth. And, unpredictably, a lot of people are fighting down, especially after these feminist groups. And the biggest argument that they're using is that, hey, if we start doing that now, we go down that rabbit hole, it turns out that these newborn children aren't really the biological seeds, biological children of these men, the fathers. Yeah, that's going to have some very violent, dark consequences for these so-called mothers who have been notorious for passing off these women, their own children, to the wrong men. Yeah, and from the get-go, any intelligent person will tell you that is a bunch of bullshit. But yeah, you can tell the mindset of a lot of the people who are against this bill being tabled, because hey, that's going to open up a Pandora's box, and that means that the idea of accountability and the fact that a lot of these men who are trying to be responsible, financially taking care of these children, have an emotional investment to these children, who turn out that they're not their biological children. Yeah, that's going to basically mash up that proverbial dolly house, and basically that fragile house of cards is going to come crumbling down. I mean that the accountability is going to happen, because that opens up the venue. And let me tell you something. They're not really concerned about that the baby fathers are going to go upside these women's heads and basically take them, basically go psycho on them. That has happened, but let's just be honest in the fact that that if someone has a psychotic tendencies, regardless of this bill, that's going to happen. And I'm not going to advocate that men should violently harm or murder these women when they do stuff like that, because you don't want to mess up your freedom and livelihood over these women, right? But I can understand the psychological scars and how triggered you're going to be in that moment when rage overtakes you. But I'm going to say to the men, like, don't ruin your freedom and livelihood over these women. But that's not really why they're pushing back against it, because the fact that will happen if the men don't resort to violence. That means that they're going to resort to financial compensation and lawsuits happening, because when women who pass these children on to the men who aren't the biological fathers, that's basically fraud and larceny. That means that you can be sued, held accountable in court, and you can even go to serve a jail sentence, because in cases that's basically fraud right there. So I mean that you basically get locked up for that. And many of these women say, yeah, we don't really want that to happen to us now, do we? And a lot of these simps, these so-called feminist groups, who are trying to say, and we don't really want this DNA test mandatory thing to become a thing now, because that means that accountability is going to be normalized. That's what they're really pushing back against. And I'm saying, I agree with Henry Clark on this. Make the bill into reality. Will that happen? Not 50-50. Hopefully it does. But I know a lot of people are going to lobby against it, because Jamaica's culture is not even just outside the jacket thing. We don't like things we don't want that infrastructure and that culture of unaccountability and criminality and all types of degeneracy and immoral vices to be reversed, because we're comfortable with a society where generalship, samphai, and chicanery and bandulu types of practices are not checked. We don't really want to go in that rabbit hole, because who else we know is going to be legalized? We don't know. We don't want other things that go against that culture of deviancy and degeneracy to be challenged. And this is what a lot of these fake human rights groups, these feminist groups, are against, though. We don't want that to stop anything. They're not really worried about the lives of these women, because women, unfortunately, and I don't condone this, are victims of violence by these brutish men. Alright, and for things that aren't justified, and yeah, and I'm not gonna, and for the women who do some bullshit like give men jackets, I'm not openly advocating that violent things happen to them as well. But the thing about that is that by pushing back against this bill being tabled, that's like saying, hey, we should be protecting thieves who steal from other people, and then when the thieves are exposed and get dealt with, we have more sympathy for the thieves, despite what they've done. I mean, yeah, we're not advocating that we should kill and murder thieves, but at the end of the day, is that the thieves shouldn't be thieves in the first place. Women who give jackets to men, especially responsible men who have resources, shouldn't be doing it in the first place. You should be, if you're going to be spreading your legs open for every Tom, Dick, and Harry, at least use protection. Don't use your children. And many women who give jackets use these children as bargaining chips and leverage to get financial support, get financial benefits. Because remember, the thing is that when these children find out that the father that they thought that was their father is not the father, the psychological scars of those children are very, very severe. But these human rights groups, these people who are against this, they don't care about those children who wear the jackets, because they're saying, hey, if these we just want to uphold that system of unaccountability. And that's basically it. They don't care about these fathers who are generally trying to do that thing. No, they care about the children who are more victims of this type of deceit, this Machiavellian deceit. Alright, so all I can say with this is that pass that bill, let that happen. We need to start pushing back against this culture of unaccountability, because the jacket things were high. And yeah, and the thing to notice, not to beat upon Babs Grange especially, but for someone who talks about women's rights and this and that, and how men should be held accountable for what they do, for the things they do to women. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything from her. I'm not hearing anything from Juliet Holness. Like you said, all the other female MPs in both parties, Lisa Hanna, Angela Brown-Burke. We're not hearing anything from Kamina Johnson-Smith, and the list could go on and on. Because basically all of them are just going to say, yeah, we're not really going to be touching this. I mean, we don't really want the accountability arrows to go in both directions. We don't want accountability street to go in both directions, right here. I mean, we can talk about the bad stuff men do, and rightfully so, but when we talk about holding women accountable, which is the basis of gender equality, yeah, we're going to do the Three Monkeys Act. So yeah, I'm not surprised that you're not hearing anything from Miss Babs Grange and other female MPs in both parties, because yeah, we know that there's, because either they've done that themselves, or they have people they know who have done that, this kind of devious, nefarious, underhanded stuff. So yeah, it's not surprising that some people are not going to be openly speaking about this, and that's how it goes. But all I can say in closing is, make the bill a reality, because accountability street needs to go in both directions more and more. This is for State of Jamaica and the Caribbean. Check out my YouTube pages, Miles Gibson Farron, Miles Productions, Real Thoughts and Miles. Alright.